Good morning. The text shall be coming from Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 21, verses 13. Hear the word of our Lord. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves. And he said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called a house of prayer, but ye have turned it into a den of thieves. For the next few moments that we have, I want to simply talk from a subject simply by saying, let's disturb the peace. It was originally said by the British artist Banksy that the purpose of art could be summarized by this statement: art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. Friends, that quote has been reused, repurposed, and redeveloped to incorporate the power of the gospel. In its current form, the saying goes like this: the aim of the gospel is that it should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. My friends, if we are to evaluate our Christian purpose and duty, we would find that this statement encompasses our mission as preachers and as Christians. If we were to judge ourselves on how well we have been keeping this credo, we would find that we have been lacking in the matter. It seems that we have become very successful in our ability to comfort the disturbed. Friends, we've made major advancements with our ability to comfort the disturbed, with the gospel being accessible at nearly every nook and cranny of the modern world. We've learned how to comfort the disturbed, with Christian pastors and personalities literally being seen every day on television. We've learned how to effectively comfort the disturbed, with churches ministering both to the downtrodden and to the depressed. It seems to me that we have become experts in comforting the disturbed. If there's a ministry to be had, then we have it. From our perspective, if we look at ourselves as a collective church community, we've done a noteworthy and a commendable job of comforting the disturbed. However, friends, what troubles me today is that we have negated the cause of disturbing the comfortable. And that's where we find Jesus in the text today, church. The crowd has already crowned him and welcomed him with chants of Hosanna. But today, friends, we meet Jesus at an interesting moment. Jesus makes his way to the temple, more than likely to practice his Jewish right to worship, only to be enraged by what he sees when he gets there. He sees currency changers and dove sellers. Now, to be clear, these two things are mainstays in the temple of the day. The money and the currency changers are there to exchange the currency of those who are traveling. And the dove sellers are there for those who want to purchase doves for a sacrificial offering. Jesus sees this scene, and he doesn't just see innocent service providers, but he sees a capitalistic process that takes advantage of people. So in the only fashion that Jesus can, Jesus drives the people out of the temple. He turns over the tables, and even other translations have it like this: Jesus led them out of the temple with a whip. Who would have ever thought Jesus would have done this? Jesus is causing a scene. Jesus is causing a disturbance. Scholars and commentators suggest that this incident is known as the cleansing of the temple. However, friends, can we be real this morning? Jesus exactly did just one thing: he disturbed the peace. And I suggest, friends, if there's ever a time that preachers and proclaimers of the gospel need to disturb the peace, that time is now. With HIV/AIDS running rampant through our communities of color, then we need to disturb the peace now. With higher education becoming increasingly unaffordable and public education becoming privatized and not equitable, we need to disturb the peace. With school shootings that happen with regularity, and the only thing some people want to do is offer thoughts and prayers, if there's ever a time we need to disturb the peace, that time is now. When our children, our friends, our family members, our relatives will kill themselves and others, but yet no one wants to talk about mental health and depression, we need to disturb the peace now. When racism is alive, well, and thriving in the 21st century, we need to disturb the peace now. When sexism is accepted in the workplace and the church, we need to disturb the peace now. When xenophobia and homophobia are deemed normal and just, we need to disturb the peace now. Friends, if there's ever a time we need to disturb the peace, that time is now. Jesus upends the social, the religious, and the political structures of the day, he intentionally causes a scene. He intentionally disturbs the peace. And friends, the relevant question should be asked of why did Jesus use this moment to disturb the peace? Obviously, given his rocky relationship with church and government officials, he would want to cause as least trouble as possible. Obviously, he did not want to take away from his great and mighty work. But friends, if Jesus can disturb the peace at this moment, then that means that this moment has weight and importance to it. That means that we can conclude that in this occasion, Jesus intentionally disturbs the peace. Jesus disturbs the peace to fulfill his divine and his pure work. Friends, Jesus disturbs the peace initially because he wants to make a statement. Jesus aims to make a statement, friends. Consider what he says after his deeds of the temple. He says, "My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it into a den of thieves." Jesus, after this very action of disturbing the peace, makes a statement. Now, with this statement, he calls out what he knows to be unjust and unfair. He makes a statement declaring the truth. The temple was supposed to be a place of worship, but they had turned it into a place of commerce. The temple was supposed to be a place of peace, but they had turned it into a place of chaos. The temple was supposed to be a place of safety, but it turned into a place of danger. Jesus sees this, and he is unhappy with this, and he calls it out. The question becomes, my friends, what do we call out? Do we make statements of truth? Do we speak for justice? Now notice, Jesus does not speak his truth, but he speaks the truth. And just like Jesus, friends, we are challenged to speak the truth, not the gospel according to what we think, not the Bible according to our political and our denominational affiliations, not the word according to our theological preferences, not the truth according to how certain groups of people feel, but we are called to speak the truth. The question should be asked, what type of statements has your life made lately? Have you been just talking around the dinner table, or have you been making statements in your community? Have you been talking amongst yourselves, or have you been making statements to the masses? Have you been blowing steam or hot air, or has your life been making a statement? When was the last time you said something about racism? When was the last time you spoke positively on inclusivity? When was the last time you spoke on economic justice? When was the last time you led a word about human trafficking? When was the last time you brought up food insecurity? When was the last time you called out blatant homophobia? We as a people of God are called to make a statement. That's what Jesus does at this moment. He makes a statement. We're called to make a statement, but we're also called to make a change. In this very act of disturbing the peace, Jesus seeks to make a change. When he turns over the tables in the temple, when he makes the statement condemning them, Jesus is seeking to change the status quo. He knows that daily worshipers have been abused by this practice, and he seeks to change that. If Jesus seeks to change the practice in the temple, then maybe that says a lot about how we should view our own lives. Then maybe we should consider what we're currently practicing may not be as effective as we think. Maybe we should consider changing our habits. If we want different, or we expect different results, then maybe we should change our process. They say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing but expecting different results. So if we want different results, then maybe we ought to change our process. If we want to better our results in our pursuit to spread the gospel, then maybe we ought to make a change. If we want to expand our reach and our impact of the gospel we preach, then maybe we should make a change. If we want to ensure that we're doing the entire extent of our Christian duty, then maybe we should make a change. Friends, consider the question, when was the last time you made a change? When was the last time we changed from hate to love? When was the last time we chose faith over fear? When was the last time we chose to help instead of hurt someone? When was the last time we decided to assist instead of antagonize? When was the last time we changed the tenor of our churches? When was the last time we changed the culture of our society? Have we made the time and the effort to ensure that everyone, black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor, was treated with dignity and respect and received the love and the grace of Jesus Christ? Have we made a difference in our world, friends? When was the last time You made a change, friends. Jesus intentionally disturbs the peace so he can make a statement. He disturbs the peace so he can make a change. But finally, he disturbs the peace so he can make a difference. We see Jesus in this interesting moment. He turns over the tables in the temple. He makes a scene in the temple, all to change the order of things. Jesus does this not just to upend the social order of the day, but he does this to make a difference. You see, the issue at hand is, why was Jesus causing a scene? He knows that when the currency changes and the dove sellers do business, they are not exactly operating in fair and just in their practices. He knows they're not being fair and true in their dealings. And by result of their behavior, people are abused and they're affected. Jesus sees these people being taken advantage of. Jesus sees these people. And just like him, they're traveling and sojourning Jews with little or no money, just trying to get by. Jesus sees an unjust and an unfair system, and he seeks to reform it. Jesus makes the difference in the lives of everyone in that temple that day because he disturbed the peace. From that day on, people could worship in the temple without feeling manipulated. And the question becomes, friends, that if Jesus before he confronts the cross, can make a difference in the lives of people by upending the social, religious, and the political order, then what does that say about us? What can we do for the betterment of the world? What can we do for the advancement of our community? What can we do for the success of our church? What can we do for the edifying and the growth of the gospel? We can make a difference. Just by disturbing the peace. That's why I find solace in the prophetic words of Mahalia Jackson, which he's saying, if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show that someone's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world uproar, if I can spread love's message just as the master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Yes, friends, we can make a difference, but only if we disturb the peace. Yes, church, we can save our world, but only if we disturb the peace. Yes, church, we can ensure that justice rolls like river and righteousness like a mighty stream, but only if we disturb the peace. Yes, we can save our society, but only if we disturb the peace. Yes, we can be better Christians and better preachers, but only if we disturb the peace. So you may ask the question, how do we disturb the peace? That's easy. Just teach a child how to read. Just love the loveless. Just embrace the stranger. Just fight for the vulnerable. Just give hope to the hopeless. That's our charge. That's our marching order. So next week, if someone asks you what you're doing, tell them I'm just disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you're fighting for justice and equality, just tell them I'm disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you're preaching the gospel, just tell them I'm disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you're singing your song, just tell them I'm disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you're praying your prayer, just tell them I'm disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you love everybody, and I do mean everybody, tell them I'm just disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you're screaming Black Lives Matter, tell them I'm just disturbing the peace. If they ask you why you do what you do, just tell them I'm just disturbing the peace. And if you disturb the peace long enough, there will be a day where you have to disturb the peace no more. There will be a day where all of life's troubles will be over. There will be a day where all is said and done, and he will say, well done. But until then, let's disturb the peace. Amen.